me. Anyway, we're gonna hop into the games here. You're on my friends list, right? I got you.
Yep, we are on West.
So, first game of the night. Making sure everything is good here. Hop into the casting. Looking good.
So, Polaris Rhapsody was map number 1 of the series, and then it was loser pick, of course. So, Polaris was an interesting map. It was in the ladder pool this season, but I know for a lot of the some of the tier 3 players, it's an interesting map to learn if you're used to just grinding games out on Fighting Spirit Circuit Breakers.
Right.
It's a little bit of a different map. You got to come at it with a different strategy.
Yeah, for sure. And I know for Zergs, it's always about that third base. Well, this is, what is this matchup even?
You know what? I've seen Joe before,
Joe?
but I don't remember.
You know what's annoying is
bad.
when you search Discord for people and their in-game name is some different ID. You know what I mean? That's your fault.
Yeah.
I would hype you up, Angrypofke, but I don't. Angry. What's I don't know what his race is. Let's just hit play and then we'll figure it out.
Sounds
Man.
good.
Let's go. Sate 0. Wait, are you a coach? If you're a coach who heard that message and you want to arrange something, either message me or Preseason, and we'll get it poppin'. It is a TVT.
Ooh,
Okay.
Okay.
It's like opening a present and like, oh, it's a TVT.
Yeah.
It's like those socks from grandma. No, I'm just kidding.
At least it's not a PvP.
At least it's not a PvP. I could even get down with ZVZ sometimes, but yeah. So we got Joe in the top left. He's our brown Terran, and Pofke. I'm gonna call him Pofke. Our teal.
Pofke.
Pofke. The trout Terran in the bottom right. God, the trout Terran. Flashes of Zookeeper, man. Hey, Zoo, if you're out there, I miss you, bro.
Yeah, dude, I
Hit me
missed
up,
him.
bro.
He's a great caster.
Yeah. But
Okay.
moving on, TVT, a lot of times you get to see some exciting stuff. You get to see attempted deceptions. You get to see kinds of like high risk, high reward plays, whether you go for race with Cloak or whether you, the moment when you're gonna unsiege and finally do a big push against mech. But often we're in this mech versus mech battle, and players sort of jockey for control of regions of the map as opposed to trading units constantly.
Right. One of the things in TVT is that gas production is critical. Now, Polaris, of course, does have that fourth with the double geysers.
Yeah.
So if a Terran or anybody goes for that base as a gamble and they get it up and running, they can get a really high tank count and get into their tech with that extra gas. Because usually in TVT, gas is the deciding factor, not necessarily minerals. So interested to see if someone's going to go for more safe play with the mineral third, or maybe even goes for those upper bases, the what's it called, the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock ish.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned about gas, because if there's any Terrans out there that could sort of like guide me in the right direction, the loose kind of rule is that you can afford machine shop production on your factory, 1 machine shop per every gas that you have. So beyond that, it's hard to afford additional things like upgrades at the same time. So as a Zerg on this map, finding that third gas can sometimes be a challenge, but it may not be as much of a challenge if somebody cedes control of a region and, like you said, expands to the 3 or the 9 positions, which can be a little bit easier to hold with some mech armies. How's the scouting going? Joe sees the Rex.
Yeah, it looks like Popkit's scouting for proxy.
Ooh, you're right. That's an interesting path here. Kind of moving along this way. Oh god. Well, I've just been messaged by Intech. Shoutouts to the boys, In fact, he's not scouting for proxy, dude. He's proxying. Ooh, Angrypofke.
Okay.
Pulling out the grease. Pulling out the anger. Joe's going to be angry if he does not see this. Is there anything that Joe saw that might have tipped him off of this? I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean,
it looked normal, right? Gas, Rex, factory, but the second factory is going to be very close.
Yes, I think I like this move a lot from Pofke. I mean, if he gets a Vulture in, then it's just infinite micro potential against those Marines. I mean, the real question is, if the Marines are on the ramp, they can kind of block for a little bit and get quite a few shots off on that Vulture.
Yeah.
But if they're out of position, the Vulture can scoot right by and get quite a few SCV kills.
Dude, Vultures are always trying to get up ramps, dude. Like, they see the bottom, they're like, oh, it's free real estate. And they're like, oh, I'll just move on up. And I can't... it's another thing that I have this idea that every race should go through therapy of playing the other races. And one thing other races should experience, but maybe Terrans can understand the feeling when Vultures get up your ramp. And he's bringing boys. He's bringing a couple boys with this, repairing each other. Maybe this is some kind of coordinated timing to punish the Marine count. There's going to be 2 Vultures, Marine, and 2 boys out here, while Joe's trying to get that CC down.
Oh, yeah.
And the first Marines go down. Good picks by the Vultures. Oh, man.
Oh, man.
GG. Oh.
Yeah, because he lifted the barracks.
You're right.
2 Marines is cutting it close. 2 Marines is you're living on the edge a little bit if you're not scouting, and then it's right there. GG.
Wow.
We got 400 APM from Pofke.
Wow. And you know what? It paid off with a quick game 1. So, man, I'm almost like, dude, should I switch races? Like, is it that easy to get wins? You just do things like that? But, you know, scouting for proxies, man. The last time I found a proxy, it was Endymion on a Smurf trying to stream snipe me. So, fuck you, Endymion. Anyway, so Pofke takes the game 1. Oh, God, dude. I just had Red Bull from the, like, I put it down too fast and it splashed Red Bull into my eye.
Oh, nice. Intact is here.
Intact's in the chat. Dude, Indy's trying to claim it wasn't him. Don't even entertain that for a moment. Don't even. Okay. Cool, we're live. Or we're up. So Joe chose Circuit Breaker. This is one of the maps in the pool that most commonly lends itself to split map scenarios. You know, a lot of analysis goes into expansion patterns. You could also proxy here pretty well. We'll get to see Fausty Poo. Hi, son. Do you see that? Do you see that sub? I haven't refreshed my sub thing in a while. I have a sub from Mr. Faust himself.
Nice.
Get jealous, Foreign Brood War.
When you know you've made it.
Okay, Vortex, get out of here. Dude, are you joining up?
Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I just totally
Just
forgot
chilling.
that.
It's all good.
Okay.
It's all good. Probe King, welcome. Okay.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that too, where I do the different in-game name from Discord name.
Terrible. You need to pin down an ID. I feel like defining your ID is a very serious thing in the Brood War career of a Brood War player. Scuzzy is so proud of his. He's had the one ID and he thinks it's great, and he's got some like old man reference to something like a Scuzzy cable or whatever that is. So he
Vortex just messaged me. Says what, Probe King is cool enough, but I'm not to join that game.
Sorry,
Should
bro.
let him in then.
This is a live
Vortex
cast.
from EMG.
Where's the bouncers in this apartment? We just let anybody join these lobbies? What the hell?
Look, he's in the Twitch chat too, man.
Rude. Anyway, not as rude as that proxy factory build. Well, maybe not rude, but just savage. When you get proxied like that, the next game you're thinking like, well, shoot. Is he going to play macro because he did kind of a proxy timing in the last game? Or is he going to do it again because it worked the first time? What do I do? You know? It goes through these players' heads, and for anybody tuning in, kind of like checking out the CPL maybe the first time, or this is your first season, I would advise you to think deeply about series play and psychology. Oftentimes, maybe 2 players will play each other in a best of 7, and one player will come out 4-3. But it doesn't mean that person, didn't win in the series battle, and it doesn't mean that person is like, named Boss Ross or anything. But
okay, I didn't get it for a second.
I was I was trying to find a way to lay it on thick. But you and I have both lost in a best of 7 to Boss Ross. We need,
man.
We need revenge, man. We need to get that pizza fucker.
Yeah, I want to rematch with Boss Ross.
But there's no beef. No beef. We
yeah,
squashed it.
Yeah, it's gone beyond that now.
Yeah. Anyway, but the series play, right? Like, you know, in your series against him, I remember that your win, I think, was Heartbreak, that you had done a proxy that worked out pretty well. And
was proxy 9-9 on Heartbreaker Ridge.
Proxy 9-9. So, like...
Strong, man.
It's pretty strong. And, again, that series play, the psychology that goes into it is very interesting because here we have Pofke. Is that CC first? So CC first. No. Yes, it was CC first. And at the same time, we've got Rax Gas for Joe. So looking straightforward here. Oh, let me hide that down there. It's just a depot. But if there was a map to do it on, do you think Circuit would be the right kind of map to get away with a greedy build?
Yeah, I like it from Pofke, especially because you're talking about that series mentality. Joe's probably going to be a little bit more defensive. We'll see if he makes more than 2 Marines. I mean, since he scouted his cross position, he doesn't really need to make that much more. You know, of course, Polaris is a 2-player map, so you usually need to make a few more.
Mm-hmm.
But on Circuit Breaker, cross position, you're really fine. So that's actually a good call from Joe.
Yeah.
And Joe's scouting this. We'll see. He might be able to punish. He's lifting up his barracks. Sometimes you can see he can make a Vulture of his own with a few Marines, come across the map, maybe get something done. So maybe Joe had an opportunity there to possibly get something done, but with the barracks lifting, probably not.
Yeah. It's interesting because Joe should also know that Pofke hasn't scouted him. At least not. We know that, but Joe should probably have pieced that together, and we'll see. Like, you know, a lot of times it's kind of about processing of information. When you get your scout and what to do next, and you're like, I'll have a window in the next 2 minutes because of X, Y, and Z, and TBT may not be the best matchup to try to do that kind of exploitative decision making. However, Joe kind of resorts back to, I'm just going to expand myself because I'm not in any danger right away, and we could be in for a longer game.
Yeah, I think, you know, going for the punish is something that you got to weigh carefully. Like you said, if this were a 2-player map, totally go for it. But cross-position Circuit Breakers, travel distances so far that you're not really going to be able to get something done. So, Joe, looks like
Pofke snuck a scout in.
Ooh, nice.
So he's going to get the full scout on. I mean, nothing crazy going on, but it's just another one of those, again, the psychological things of a probe walking past you, and you're like, God damn it, I should have killed him. You know, like, oh, he's going to see me. Now.
All right, Pofke is going 2-port Wraith right now.
Ooh, good call. Nice catch. Okay. So, the Wraith, like, you know, sometimes you see they'll mix in a build with Cloak, and they have to kind of put a little bit more gas into the Cloak. Sometimes you'll just see a larger amount of Wraiths. I was talking to my boy Rock, who, I don't know if this is spoilers. Fuck it might be spoilers. But he lost because they both proxied starports against each other, but he went Wraiths with Cloak, and his opponent just went Wraiths, and so he had more number of Wraiths, which with a good scan or whatever took out his Wraiths. So we're gonna see what Joe can do to respond to the starport style. What do you think of the optimal next steps? He doesn't have a starport of his own yet.
Well, Joe's mainly actually producing Vultures right now, which is interesting. He's going to try to gain map presence, but the thing is, Terrans can stay on 2 bases for quite a while. Mm-hmm. So neglecting to get that high tank count up could be a mistake from both players.
And mines don't go up.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't like mine the back of your mineral line and be like, okay, it'll just leap in the air. You know, it's not like a Mexican jumping mine or something. So
yeah. So he needs to start getting that tank production out because Pofke is going to come out with those Wraiths, and he's producing tanks now. So Tank Wraith is going to beat Vulture in the end.
Yeah, I kind of like the way that Pofke's done it. He kind of shows the hand, okay, I'm playing greedy macro, but then steps down the tech pathway, but also techs in a way that's going to ultimately keep his front safe. So I like the Wraith tank combination. But dude, Joe's floating the Rex. He should see that control tower. He should see the control tower there, which is going to really tip him off that he's going to need his own NG bay And actually, the first race are out, dude. Oh my god, my obsing. The race are out, and they're shooting his boys.
Really bad. We've got Armory and NG on the way, so these wraiths are going to get quite a few kills out.
Oh god. Is there any kind of like possible like micro repair micro that you could do with when they focus the same one? It just goes down in a couple shots. Damn.
Yeah, you could try. It'd be a lot of APM, and you'd end up losing mining. I don't know. It's possible.
Yeah.
Oh, Vultures got through into the main
as well. Good call. The Vultures run by, and all his boys have got to transfer to the natural, and so at least this is some pretty serious economic destruction going on. He laid some mines on his way in too, so this is going to be hard to clear out if those tanks just try to walk that way and take out these Vultures. So effectively, Pufke's on an oversaturated one base mining, but the same thing, like they're both on one base now because the race have effectively killed Joe's natural. So we're in an awkward thing, and there's Marines shooting the floating barracks.
Yeah, there's Goliaths out now, so these wraiths will get pushed back, and there's no retreat, so he's going to lose both of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Joe is in a pretty good position. He has more SCVs than Pufke. It's a little bit hard to tell. Pufke does have that tank count critically, but the thing is there's quite a few Marines, so he's going to have to save up mana for scans before he can move out.
Yeah, Pufke should resaturate his main. Right, there it is. He's maynarding back to the main as soon as possible. And now kind of like, dude, look at the supplies. They come out even 53 to 53. So
yeah.
Such a bizarre kind of little tit for tat there. We've got some quid pro quo, but Race find these Vultures out towards the 3 o'clock, and the Vultures are like, okay, let's vroom over here. I feel like if I was a Terran player, I'd be going Race. You know, they're just... What an interesting unit in terms of the responses, the causes and effects that they can force your opponent to go down. Because sometimes it's like you just want to have a tech, maybe not even fully commit to the tech, but just make your opponent have to respond, similar to like, you know, mutas and turrets is a classic example. If that tech ends up paying off dividends, like this Wraith Ball, 4 Wraiths now.
There's a lot of Vulture. Okay.
The mines. Oh. I saw that. Okay. That one tank. God.
Yeah, just to go back a second. So, Pufke, he's still ahead quite a bit, but that Vulture run by really saved him. Really saved Joe. I think he was in quite a bad position because he invested into so many Vultures early, and they're really just dead weight against this tank. So, yeah, Pufke, he's ahead, but Joe getting that third base up, if he can defend that and start getting his tank out higher, he might be okay.
Here's where I do my taste list. For any players that are new to Brood War, the Vulture's Spider Mines. It actually has an AI that it actually does not trigger against worker units, SCV, drones, or probes. So, yeah, sorry. But I just saw some SCVs walk over the mines, and I had to do my taste list. Race still trying to get stuff done, but Goliaths are there to bat them away. Now, you know, is this the kind of thing... Oh, let me show the production a little bit. I'll hide our turn right here. Is this the kind of thing where Cloak would have really been worth the investment? I don't know. He's turned it up well, but if we could go back in time, I'm not sure. Like, when those Goliaths first pushed the Wraiths away, could Cloak have kind of sealed the deal?
I don't know. I mean, Turret's first Wraith, really good, and of course, the Cloak's not affected by that. The Wraiths really got all their value in that first thing. I'm even questioning with the Wraiths. Yeah. He kept producing them. I think he's fine now, but Wraiths do lose value over time. They're good for scouting, and then later in the game, you can go into more of a Wraith switch later on.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Rock just says, my ears, ouch. If you've got any kind of audio feedback, am I talking too loud or what have you, just let me know. You know, I had to rebuild all my setup within 45 minutes, so I can mix as appropriate. Just I don't know, DM me or something.
Yeah, Pufke is ahead in supply. I mean, barely, by like 4. Well, actually, 6. There we go.
Yeah.
But I'm liking Joe's position. He's got his third base up. He's mining minerals, which means he can start to add on more facts for vulture production. And circuit break, I mean, TVT in Brood War, it's so hard to push out. You got to have a really solid advantage and really got to be on top of things. Pofcase is kind of pushing out. He's got a bunch of SCVs everywhere. He's got kind of a piecemeal army.
Yeah.
And if he just moves into Joe's army, I mean, Joe's going to murder that.
Yeah. What are the upgrade status? Still 0-0, but we've got vehicle weapons coming for both players around the same time. Joe's adding on his own starports, and looking like we're going to be in for a long one, perhaps.
Okay, Pofke just now putting down his third. Huge mistake from him. I mean, that's really late, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Joe is getting his fourth.
Yeah.
And that could be big. We'll see. Pofke is also getting a science facility.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe get a science vessel, or he's just lifting that. Never mind, just to get upgrades.
Okay.
I'm dumb.
Yeah. But I think that you're right. Like, we're seeing a little bit of different tendencies from the two players right now, that Pofka is sort of expanding, branching out, making sure that he's got a nice little tank line here, but his third's behind. And yet Joe is not really feeling the pressure, at least in a map control sense. Really, he's set up on that ramp to protect his natural and third area, and then he's, as you said, rapidly expanding. But Pofka just scanned it, so he knows that he should be at least a little bit behind schedule here. And when Pofka goes to land that CC, is that vulture mine, the spider mine, blocking the optimal CC spot at the mineral third?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think it is. So, just a nice little touch here. It's we've got a lot of little touches from both players who, in terms of a later game, they're not like floating so badly, but Joe accruing a bigger gas bank, and Pofka with a little bit less gas in the bank. And we're seeing. Go ahead.
Sorry. So Pofke is taking the 12 and the 3, which that's spreading him out quite a bit. I would like to see him just try to lock down the 12 and then that mineral only third, because now he has such a wide area to defend from vultures. Like, now he has to defend that third ramp too. I mean, he could be just trying to double expand, but Joe, with that extra minerals he has, if he just throws it into a lot of vulture production, he could definitely take advantage of this. Okay, we've got a major attack going down at the 6 o'clock though, and that forced a lift. And this is a hard position to attack into for Joe.
Yeah, for sure. Those siege tanks are already kind of set up there. Oh god. Oh, the shots. He's got to kind of like read the optimal siege
those tanks
range.
are out of range.
They're out of range. He's got to like sneak in here a little bit. Goliaths are used to tank some siege fire shots, but cloak rates are in. Oh, but the scan from Joe, right on point. You can tell he's got his comsat hotkey. Nice scan there, and he's just sort of shoos Mr. Pofka away back to his territory. Nice defense there. He's got to repair the CC that well. Okay. No, he doesn't. It's fine.
That third base
I saw
mineral
the fire and I was like,
for Pofke still has not landed.
Ooh,
it's a lot of distance mining SCVs.
Yeah, for sure. That's the kind of thing where you kind of like set it and forget it, but then forgetting about it is really, really a bummer here. He had science facility. It's still around, right? Is it floating around? Can he just scan? Get a vulture and scan or something? Just for the love of God, man.
Joe's macro after that attack petered out has slipped here, and he might be crucially allowing Pofke to take his tanks up onto this plateau here on top of that third.
Yeah, a lot
and
of mine support.
That's going to be huge. He can mine that area and siege up there, and then he's going to basically be wedging his way in between Joe.
Oh god, speaking of a wedge, dude, he's right in there near the mineral third. Joe lifts his CC up, and now it's a bit of a sandwich situation here. We got tanks from Joe on the right, tanks from Joe on the left, but Pofka just kind of finding his way in, and that kind of maneuver is worth the cost of the vultures for sure. Denying the mineral third in general. Maybe it was a little premature that Joe lifted that up. He's got to kind of shoo this away.
It was premature, but the huge thing in that fight is Pofke did not attack with his full army. he has several tanks up on the top of that plateau, and then he's got quite a few right outside of his the 6 o'clock position. Sorry, the 3 o'clock. So that was like maybe a half of his army or less. So if he sieged up here, got a strong siege with all of his tanks,
right,
that was a good position. But he kind of threw that away since he wasn't attacking with his full army.
Right, for sure. This is starting to look like, you know, these players are actually evenly matched. Game 1 does not tell the full story. They're going tit for tat, moving out with still similar supplies in a 17-minute game. But you're right, I worry about Pofke, because despite Joe having to lift that mineral third, he's placed it back down, and Pofke's is still not down yet. So, like,
oh my goodness, that's huge.
He's not supplementing his bases in comparison to Joe, and here comes Joe. Moving forward, he's walking in unsieged versus a siege line, but he sieges up himself. Siege takes up himself. Are kind of going to shoot. We've got Race coming back in to give energy. Probably has energy in the comm stats, but needs Goliath too. There's only one Goliath here. They got blown up by a tank, and now the cloaked Race start going in. Jeez. GG,
What?
well played.
Okay.
No, it's not GG yet, I don't think. Is it? I don't.
No, I mean,
That's it, right?
he threw away a lot of his army, but look at his
It's very
bank. He's got a
mannered to just-
5K bank.
To just ask about it. He's got such a bank.
This is not over for sure. I mean, yeah, that was a horrible attack for
Yeah.
sure. But, wow,
Good one.
man. Joe, killing me, man.
Oh,
That
Joe,
was-
breaking my heart. I love how he asked, that's it, right? Like,
I was like, Popke's like,
yep.
yeah,
Yep.
totally.
Yeah. It's kind of like,
I mean-
it's kind of like playing like soccer or basketball with your friend. Like, you see the ball and you're not sure, like, was that out? Was that off you? And you have to trust your buddy to be like, yeah, it was off me, your ball, you know?
And the first game too, Joe was premature, I think, as well. Both games. So, and just go back to this game for a second. Joe expanded really nicely, but the problem is his macro slipped up a bit. I mean, you could see like he was banking 4K, 5K, and his production was more or less the same to Pofke's, but he was banking 4K
Yeah,
in terms of factory count.
yeah, for
So
sure.
I like what Joe's doing. I think like GGing, I never GG too early. Like coming from a Protoss player,
Yeah.
like I would rather be called a late GGer than
Yeah.
GG a game that I could have
Oh,
won.
I'm the latest GGer ever. But you know what? The amount of games that I've just like happened to come back on because my opponent got a little bit too cocky and just kind of, you know, like that's there. That can be a real thing. But 280 APM across the game for Pofke in an 18-minute game. That's faster than me. You know, like this is tier 3, right?
Well,
Supposed to be?
Pofke's, well, first of all, I don't think APM means that much necessarily, but Pofke, this game, his macro was pretty on point. What wasn't was his expanding.
Yeah.
You saw that. I've talked about this a couple times, but you
Yeah.
know, if he can expand more, get more production facilities, then I think he's going to be a tier 2 player. But identifying when you need to expand is huge because I think, you know, like you said, the APM, his macro was
Yeah.
pretty good,
You're right.
but just
right.
didn't have the resources.
You know, I agree with the idea that APM doesn't. I've said this with Zoo before. I think APM, it doesn't mean as much as people think it does, but it does mean something. You know, like if you have already high APM and you've got that kind of basis for moving your hands and your fingers, that's what the CPL is about because coaches are going to tell you how to guide and funnel that APM into making the right decisions at the right times. And
Well,
it worked out for Pofke. What do you think?
here's my opinion on APM is essentially, I think that players should focus on getting builds down, playing games where they're not banking over 2K, where they're expanding enough, just grinding out games like that in the single player. Because what happens is when you get those builds down and the build is muscle memory, then you have more APM to spend on things like army control, you know, clicking units multiple times to make
I
sure they
see.
gloss through structures. So I think APM will improve organically when you improve your build and your macro. Even Nyoka on his thing, he doesn't say, don't look at your APM, don't worry about your APM. Your APM will go up organically when you get your
Right.
you know, when your build's down, then that's muscle memory, and you can think about how you're clicking,
like
how you're moving
between
your army.
the gaps, right? Between the
Right.
little actions that you do, you'll start to identify gaps where I can,
Yeah.
like, for me, it's often like, okay, now I can move my lings and check his front during this next, like, 2 or 3 seconds. So I can look for
And you can
the
micro
forward
your scouting
spinning.
probe.
Right, right,
So
exactly.
that and also I think I believe that if you are trying to force your APM to be higher, it can lead you to just be more sloppy in general. If you're just intentionally thinking like today, this game, I want to hit over 200 APM. You're just gonna end up clicking a bunch of times, and then you're gonna misclick things.
Yeah.
It's kind of stupid to me to
Yeah.
say the whole concept of saying I need to get my APM higher. To me, seems kind of dumb. Like you want to get your macro better, and APM will improve as a product of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel you. But everybody wants that high APM, bro. Like, everybody wants to like go to that score screen and just see, wow, I'm a badass. But yeah. Anyway.